Ariana made $50,000 in 90 days using the CCA Instagram strategy to sell her digital SEO course. Prior to that, she was only doing weekly launches and experiencing inconsistent revenue, which is why a lot of clients come to us. Fast forward to now, she's using an evergreen model, collecting consistent cash every single day. So in this interview, we dive into how she gained 15,000 followers, the experience going from no funnel to now a high converting funnel using Instagram, and how she's able to close all of these sales without sales calls, just in the DMs using the CCA method. Ariana was able to 10x her investment and is now able to live off selling her product online, and she is scaling this to the moon. So if you want to do the same, I wouldn't want to miss out on all of these gems we drop in this video. Let's dive in. Welcome, Ariana. I am so excited to speak all about your success with CCA, how you made over $50,000 in cash in 90 days with the CCA method and all the great things. So before we dive in, can you tell the audience a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thank you, Julia, for having me. It's really a pleasure and honor. I've been following you, not sure how long, probably like a year or two. For me to be here is very unreal. My name is Ariana, as you mentioned. I'm an SEO consultant. Eventually, I became an SEO instructor. I teach for now specifically SEO in Spanish. I was born and raised in Venezuela in South America, and now my mission is to make other people be able to make money or have clients or work for a company with SEO.
Amazing. And I think this is such a cool topic because SEO kind of runs the world. Everyone's Googling things 24/7. So this is a really awesome topic. And I can't wait to just go deeper into your course launches and all the great stuff. But before we really jump into that, what inspired you to learn more about CCA and maybe inquire about the program?
I guess I've already been in this selling courses journey for the past 2 years. Maybe there's other people that are just starting out and they're coach or something and they decide through you. But I started my first course in March 2022, and then I was selling, I did it on my own. It was very DIY, honestly, and I didn't really know how to sell it. I did have a small audience back then from other projects I was involved in. I actually had a podcast with friends. So I had a small audience, so I sold it to them through my personal brand. But eventually, of course, in the process, I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't know how to package it as an offer. I didn't have a very good landing page. I didn't know how to funnel them. I was just having a story link and I was expecting to make sales from it. So that was my first try, let's say, of selling a course. And also I did it a live course, so it was very limited because then I had to relaunch it. So I lived off launches for December last year. I was doing launch. So I have these peaks of revenue and cash and then these lows. It just took so much energy. So I figured, I should be doing something else. So that's how more or less I stumbled upon CCA. I've been following your stories or your journey. I think I followed you way before during the pandemic when you were more about manifestation and stuff. And then I saw what you were doing, and then I started being interested in how you were working with CCA and of course the results you were getting for your clients.
Wow. And I love that you talked about going from a launch model to an evergreen model, because a lot of people come to us where they're like, Julia, team, I understand really well how to do these big live launches, but I want more consistent income. And I think that this has been such a big thing. So how has that shift for you been, being able to build an evergreen course, meaning it runs 24/7, it doesn't have to just rely on launches? How has that shift been for you to see more consistent income each month?
The first thing for me has been the quality of the course has been able to improve. I have all this energy now since I'm not launching and doing campaigns and opening and closing and onboarding and offboarding clients. So I'm now I have this space. Of course, I already did a first launch, let's say, but I have this space where every week I'm not thinking only. Of course, there's a lot of upkeep, improvements, internal stuff. I do have a team, etc. But my energy is now focused on how can we make it better? How can we improve this lesson? How can we give them a resource, XYZ, instead of selling it? Because before I was just so focused on opening and closing that there was no energy left for that, and the course stayed the same, pretty much the content and the slides and all the lessons stayed pretty much the same. So having the energy to improve the quality has been amazing, not only for me but of course for my clients, so they get a better bang for their buck. And also for me being in CCA and just witnessing business model myself is now I'm like, everything's possible. I can see how this can scale up. I didn't see it before. I think until I started CCA, I was not living off courses yet. I do have like a small SEO agency, so my time is spread between those. Now it's more like I'm choosing to do both, but I know if I decide eventually to sell the agency or dissolve it, I can live off completely courses, which is eventually my dream. So very liberating. Quality is better, and honestly, of course, like my life's changing in very many ways.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Ariana. And what I want to ask you next is really what fears or maybe like worries did you have before signing up for CCA? Because I know whenever we're like presented with an investment ourselves or going to the next level, it's like, ah. So I'd love to ask this question because I think a lot of people listening probably are on the fence. So what were you going through before, making an investment in yourself?
For me, I've been in this investing in myself journey already. Like it wasn't like from zero to let's invest all this money in CCA. So I'm a firm believer of any time I spend, I don't know, I think my first like coaching course was around $500 US dollars, and I didn't have the money, but I saw how it changed for me. At that time it was about like changing my relationship with money. I knew it was an investment, but I wasn't like there yet. So I've had this journey of already investing in myself, and the return has always been at least 10x within a year.
Wow.
So like with that in mind, I'm like, I know every time I invest in myself, not only because I put the money, but because I know I put the effort, because I put the money, but because I'm also very good at what I do and I'm very persistent. So I kind of have already trained for investing in myself. Last year, I think I did something similar to CCA on a smaller scale, and it helped me grow a lot. I was on this like investing in myself ladder, but I didn't feel ready completely yet to do it with my course and this program that I have. I was feeling not as sure, but I was seeing what you were doing for other people, and also kind of like believing in my course and my offer and how it's changing other people's lives, that I was like, okay, maybe this is for me, like this is where I should go.
Amazing. And this is so powerful, right? Because you look at it really as an investment versus as an expense. And I think just seeing your ROI, I mean, over 50K in 90 days is so massive. And especially for online courses, like I know I used to do like done for you work, like agency style, and it's just so much fulfillment. It's so much more work versus having this kind of momentum through selling online courses and really doing things of that nature. You can really scale, right? Scale like your time, your income. So can you tell the audience a little bit more about your course? Like what is the style of it? How much is it? And how do you sell it? Because I think what's really important that a lot of people wonder is like, what is the funnel, right? That we teach inside of CCA, and how are other people like selling their products?
Yeah, completely. And about the last point and the last previous question, I wanted to say, like, I remember when I decided to, it was a very emotional decision at the beginning. Like math and math, like financially, it didn't make a lot of sense because I was not making probably the amount of money that I needed to buy CCA. And I do have like a finance consultant where I talk to him every week. We check on invoices and clients and stuff. And I'm like, listen, this is the this like program I want to get into. This is the cost. This is how I can work through it. What do you think? And he was like, he's a financial advisor. He's like, listen, we can do it like later in the year. Like maybe later in the year we get to this point when we have the XYZ clients, because at that point the agency was kind of financing the course or any big investment in the course business. So he said that, and I'm like, bomb. And a few hours later, I'm like, you know what? I know this is not necessarily like a financial decision. This is like an investment, and I'm going to see it that way. It's not an expense. So the next day, I'm like, listen, I know you told me I shouldn't, or you don't think I should do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you tell me how we're going to work it out. He's like, okay. And now I'm like joking with him. Like, you see, you should have, you see what happens if we had waited for half a year, we wouldn't be here. So yeah, like it's always about like taking the leap of like faith on yourself mostly. So about my course, as I mentioned, I'm an SEO consultant. I learned how to do SEO, and I learned how to be a freelancer on my own, like without any platform, etc. So I have the skills, and I know also how to sell myself and work for a company. I did work for a big agency or work for myself. I think in 2022 when I started freelancing, I made like 100K in 6 months. So I knew like how things work. And the idea here is to teach people how to become an SEO specialist. It's a marketing skill that can really help anyone in any business that wants to have visibility in any search engine, especially Google. So I'm teaching professionals or students how to be an SEO specialist, which is like the first, let's say, level or the first role of being an SEO. And then my course is an 8-week method that it's like the process, more or less the process I went through in the last like 7 years to become an SEO, but I'm packaging it up in just 8 weeks so you know what you need to do. And also in the program you have like a project, so you not only like learn the stuff but you actually implement it, like similar to have something to work with. So it's not only like you're learning and reading and that's it, but you're actually practicing. So when you finish the course or the program, you have the skills, like you have actually practiced the skills with any website that you want or you have. So it's an 8-week pre-recorded, most of it. I'm always like adding new stuff and updating it because SEO is very, very big and very deep, but it's an 8-week method. And then I'm doing once a week calls with me. And sometimes there's some colleagues or coworkers that come in, and also they also have some lessons within my course, and they go into calls and there's QAs with them. So it's very complete, and that's how I'm packaging my course. I think you asked something else about how I'm selling it.
Yeah, so I want to know like more about the course style and then the method that you sell it. Like some of our clients, they do sales calls, some sell on the DMs, some just sell in a automated funnel. So what is like your way of selling your course?
Okay, yeah. So my course price point right now is $400. It's a 4-month access to it. The way I'm selling it now is, well, I'm growing. I have an Instagram account. I think when I started with CCA, I had like 10 or 11,000 followers. Today I'm at 25,000 followers, which is very
nice.
I did do a few collaborations here and there with other Instagram accounts that really helped me grow. But in general, like the reels I've been posting and the stories. My course is $400 US, and the way I'm selling it is I'm creating different pieces of content. I'm doing reels that have different CTAs. I'm using ManyChat to get into people's DMs with those, like automations. I have specific CTAs and reels, and they come in. And then from there, I'm selling only through text. I'm not doing calls. Why?
Nice.
Even though sometimes you recommend calls, because it's a very low, the ticket is not that high.
Absolutely.
And honestly, at least in my culture, like I realized in Latin America, people didn't show up to calls. There's not this like Zoom call culture. It's not as common. So I'm using WhatsApp, which is
perfect.
Very widely used here. People feel more confident and safer with it. So I'm selling through WhatsApp. Everyone.
Amazing. That's actually really good feedback, because I think a big thing that we're focused on in CCA is like helping you find the right vehicle for your offer, and like even like culturally too, where you're like, hey, Zoom isn't that big here. Like everyone uses WhatsApp. So weird, because in America, people don't use WhatsApp as much as they do like in the rest of the world. But like I have a ton of family in Italy, so like they're all on WhatsApp, and I travel a lot. So everything outside of America is WhatsApp. But I think that's really great that like you've been able to really find that medium, and we've been able to help you with a real like customized roadmap of like, hey, okay, like for example, you're like Zoom calls don't work for me. And I think that a program like CCA is so unique because we help you in a way that your business best. So like, even though we have education and we can help you and guide you with our methodology, we find a way to be like, okay, what feels good for you? What do you want to do? Like you have full reins here. We're going to just help implement and put our system like already with what you're doing. So I guess my next question would be, what has it been like for you as a student? Like the experience of CCA, being a part of the community, having a support coach, like what has your experience been specifically?
So at the beginning, I think like everything, I was a bit overwhelmed because there's a lot of things and a lot of changes. But in general, what I've liked the most about CCA is everything's super lean. It's not like overcomplicated, and you have the framework. You're you're very generous with the templates and how to do things. So for example, there's specific resources that you share. I'll just like make a copy of the document, share it with my team, and I'm like, translate this. And then we'll go from there, and of course adapt it to our needs, on our clients, and how our business is different. But it has definitely been a lean experience. I think it's also been like super inclusive. Like when I've talked to the coaches about my specific situation where my business is different, my culture is different, and they've been open to like, okay, do something else, don't do Zoom calls, that's fine. Like you don't have to necessarily follow specific tools or processes that you share. For example, I'm using, I don't know if you can say that, Kajabi, for example, for my course, and it's worked wonders for me. I'm super happy. And you've always been like super open about you can do whatever you want, just how I do it. And I probably copy what you, or I take inspiration from what you're doing on those platforms, but I'm not using the same, and that's totally fine. So you don't have to necessarily change everything. For example, I'm not using the tools you recommend for the shopping cart or the funnel. I'm not using your tools because I had some of mine that I liked a lot. I'm staying with those. So I think that's also been super helpful.
I love that. So it sounds like you can really take what you like, leave what you don't. But even though you don't want to use School, you want to use Kajabi, or you don't want to use Thrivecart, you want to use your own checkout, this program still works and you got an amazing result. So it's not something where it's like you have to do it this one way. So I absolutely love that. My final question to you would be, what would you say to somebody that's on the fence right now? Like maybe thinking, I kind of want to join, but I don't know the investment. Is this the right step for me? What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would say is make sure you have something to offer first. Like, don't get all excited about the potential and how much money you can make. Like, you can only make that if you have value and you have something to offer and you have experience helping people, because otherwise you won't get anywhere. Like, I have these results because I built something already, either one-on-one or with people. So that will be the first thing. And the second is, for me, like anytime I invest in myself, 10x, and it literally for me more than 10x this time. So I would say just trust in yourself, but make sure you have something that's really valuable. And if you have the time for it, if you put the effort, you put 100% to it, you'll definitely get the results, because the method is created for you to get there.
I love that. Thank you so much, Ariana. And where can everybody find you? Where can they find you if they want to connect with you and take your course?
Awesome, sure. So for now, my course is in Spanish. So if you're a Spanish speaker or any Spanish speaker that wants to specialize in SEO, my IG handle is aprendo, like learn, aprendo SEO. That's me. And then I have my personal Instagram account that I'm transitioning to like more digital nomad and travel stuff and personal stuff. You'll probably see Spanish and English as well. I'm not sure yet, but that's Ariana Lupi, my first name and last name. And eventually, I don't know, from my experience from CCA, I've been thinking about creating a course in English. Before, I used to feel super self-aware of my accent. Now I'm like, I have so many clients in English that I do services for them. So I'm thinking, well, I should create a program for those type of companies, so I don't have to take so many clients. So I'll probably be there in the next 2 years.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. And this was a lovely conversation. We'll link everything for everyone in the show notes. And I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Julia. It's really an honor. I love CCA. I'll be there forever. Thank you.